Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Journey Henkart, and Andrea, my mom Andrea Henkart, and I are so excited to have you all here. David Wood is our inspiration, our mentor. You're going to get to hear his wisdom and love poured into you. I have been personally learning from David Wood for, I think it's been about 10 years. He is my mentor, my friend, and has really helped, I believe, shaped me into the person that I'm proud to be today. And I'm always learning and growing. He has been in the personal development world for over 20 years, right? Am I right with that? And 15. So he said? Okay, my sound is might be a little bit off. I'm not sure. But just a reminder also for everybody to, if you want to ask any questions, please just post them in the chat. And if we get a chance, we will definitely try to get them answered for you. But David has been a professional master trainer. He used to work with Harv Eker, who teaches about the success of the millionaire mind. And if anyone has taken his University in Action course, that has absolutely changed my life. And in fact, that's what helped me go from treating isogenics as a hobby to really treating this as the business that it is. I have been using the products for 14 years, but because of David Wood, I've been in the business, treating it like a business for 3 years now. And life is never going back. It's definitely getting more and more excited. So without further ado, I would love to turn it over to you, David. And for you to know, there are all sorts of people on this call, people who are just starting, haven't even gotten their products yet, to people who are veterans and they are sharing this gift with people. So we are just so honored to have you. Thank you so much, David, for being here.
Thank you. And first of all, Andrea, thank you for opening the call. And I send my love to you. I see Ian on there as well, Ian and Journey. Again, I want to sort of thank the three of you for the great leadership, because I think, we are defined a lot by our leadership and how we show up. And, the impact of Isogenics is way beyond the product and the compensation plan. So, Journey, thanks for being who you are. And thanks for, the youngest, really the first real start ambassador as far as anyone's concerned. You've been around the company when the company all seemed old, and you were the only young person. And of course, you look 10 years younger than you are, so you look younger than you are. So thanks for everything you do.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, and, kind of on that note, it really, there have been so many times I didn't believe that I could do it. And it was being around people like you who poured the belief in me, who allowed me to borrow belief to do things that I didn't know could be done. So maybe that's something we can start with, because I know that a lot of us on the call have goals and have set goals. And sometimes it feels like we're on track, and sometimes it can feel like, can I really do this? Is this something that people start to question themselves? And I know you talk about belief. So you could just talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jamie, I think you're driving. I just want to let people know, Carla and Erica, Kathleen, Andrew, I just want to let you know I can see you. And I think using this format, I want you to get that I'm really looking at you. Lisa, so MJ, I just want you to know that this is done for a reason. And, this is, although I will talk quite a lot, I'm interested in your questions. I'm interested if something comes up for you as I'm speaking, you want greater clarity on, or you have a comment about, because there are brand new people that haven't got the product yet. And there are people who are sort of brand new in the business. I really want to just be really sensitive and aware of where you're at. And there's people who are sort of in the business, and maybe they're still in that sort of mindset that you just talked about, Journey, where they're not sure they can. And what I first want to say is, whatever you're feeling currently is normal. Even if today you've thought about quitting 6 times, it's very, very normal. The challenge with network marketing, of course, it's the only profession I know where someone joins on a Tuesday And by Wednesday night, they kind of feel that they should know what they're doing, and they can go out and start talking to people. And of course, when we first started in network marketing, all of us are disasters. And I use that saying a lot. Every master was once a disaster. And our belief system is often quite low. We've fallen in love with the products, but now we're sort of starting to venture into this world of business. And a lot of people come in dabbling, and they come in without understanding where their belief system's really at. And I always look at 6 key areas of belief. And again, if you have a pen and paper, you may want to write these down. But obviously, belief in the products, belief in the compensation plan, belief in the company itself, belief in network marketing, belief, listen to this one, belief in self, and belief in self doing network marketing. And I look at those 6 critical areas. And again, because so many people, and we should really do, let's sort of define the type of people on the call. You've got people who are product users. And really, if you look at most of our businesses, 80 to 90% of the whole business is made up of product users. And because this is network marketing, we get paid on the consumption of a product. So what we want product users, because every single time, for example, myself, I've been using these products for 10 years. 10 years. There's not a day goes by when I don't put these products in my body. Even when I climbed Kilimanjaro, 19,374 feet, I still carried all my isogenic stuff right to the top of that mountain. I led a team of 11 people. All of them wanted the products by the time I finished that because they could see I had an edge, right? So the idea that you're a product user, that's great. And we want product users. And not every product user is going to be a business builder. And it's a really important part for all of you to understand that, even though we may want them to be, just because they've had a great product experience. So then I started realizing there's product users that are kind of more like they're going to refer, new teeth. They're going to refer a few people. They're not going to build a business, but they may refer a few people. They may even make a little tiny bit of money, but it's okay to be a product user who's not really, or product user who's referring some people, even if you've made a little bit of money, to not say that this is my career, I want to build a business, I want to be a network marketer. It's okay to be someone who refers once and again, like we do. We go to a restaurant or go to a movie, we tell people about it, that's okay. And then we've got people that cross the bridge. They cross the bridge from product user who's referring a little bit to be saying, hey, I really want to build a business. But once you cross the bridge, there's like different speeds. And a lot of you brand new people don't get this, that you have a choice on the speed that you travel at. And there are some people in our company that chose a very, very fast speed. Journey wasn't one of those people. Journey was someone who's a great example of someone who was a great product user, who was around the company for almost a decade before she really started to say, hey, I want to do this as a business. But she didn't quit using the products, and she still made a little bit of money, and she was still able to travel the world during that time. And it's okay for you to choose a slow speed. You know, we're going to love you the same whether you go fast or slow. The choice is going to come down to you. So how do you cross the bridge? And for those of you that want to build a business, for those of you that want to have a residual income, and most of us never think about that, a residual income. What's a residual income? That means I do the work once, I get paid over and over and over and over again. And raise your hand up and wave anyone who's already received a residual income. In other words, that you've got paid on work you've done once and you've got paid more than once. Look around. So all of you have experienced already one of the greatest phenomenons in the world. Even if it's only $54, you made residual income. And if you can do it once, you can do it many, many times. It's the most exciting income. Because
talking about me?
Someone just jumped in there. But it's the most exciting income because we have working income where we go and trade time for money, which is very normal. We do that. And everyone gets paid a certain amount of money. If you're a nurse, you get so many dollars an hour. If you're a bricklayer, you get so many dollars an hour. But this exciting thing called residual income. The beauty is once you cross that bridge and you say, yes, I want to build a business. And then once you determine that what speed you want to travel at, and there are people that are friends of ours that have traveled really fast. And there's people like Journey who've taken a slower road, but still loved every step of the way. We got to understand that we start with our belief system. Where is our belief at? And so those 6 things that you just wrote down, I would ask you to look at yourself out of 10. Where are you at? Are you unshakable belief in isogenics? Do you have unshakable belief in the product? Do you have unshakable belief in the compensation plan? And a lot of you new people don't. And it's okay to know that. It's okay to look at that and say, well, I give myself a 6 out of 10. But then if you're a 6 out of 10 in this compensation plan and you want to build a business, when you're talking to people, they're going to pick up that you really don't believe in this yet. And that's okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's important for you to know that you really want to move yourself and be conscious of where your belief system's at, so that when you talk to people, even if you say the wrong thing, when they look in your eyes, they see certainty, because certainty is what's going to attract people to you. It's not saying and doing the right thing all the time. It's that you're certain, that you believe in what you're doing. Network marketing is a big one. A lot of people, Journey, just simply don't believe in network marketing. Not because they don't believe. It's because they've never sat down and actually thought about it. They've never said, well, where's my belief at in network marketing? Well, I'm a 7. Great. So imagine I was proposing to you in marriage. I got down on one knee and I said, darling, I am 70% sure that you're the woman of my dreams and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. It's nuts, right? So your job when you first cross this bridge is to really say, hey, what am I going to do? What responsibility can I take to move my belief needle to a 10? Because when it's at a 10, right, when you believe in network marketing, okay, you're going to have a very, very different response from people from when you don't believe. And you're going to attract who you are. So if you're a bit flaky right now, and by the way, we all were, so I'm not picking on you, but if you're a little bit flaky, let's say you've only got a toe in the water, you're dabbling a little bit, your belief system's a bit low, the good possibility is you're going to attract people who are a little bit flaky, their belief systems are going to be low, and they're not going to do a lot of work. And a lot of us attract people like that in the beginning, but as we start growing this muscle, as we start moving from a non-professional network marketer to a professional network marketer, which can take 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and don't forget, we get paid to learn. So like Journey's been paid this whole time. Now her income's getting really exciting because she's now treating it like a business. Now, for some of you, you can make that choice right away, but it's critical, and I want to use the word critical, that you understand where your belief system's at, because if you're not getting the results you want, and then when you look at that little list and you go, you know what? Belief in self is a 3 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. By the way, that's very normal. So then you're going to say, well, what do I do about it? Well, your job then is to start building the belief in self. So it's like going to podcasts like this. It's going to investing in personal development programs. It's reading the right kinds of books. It's being around other people that believe in you, like Journey. When she first started out, she didn't believe she could do this, but she was surrounded by people like us who could pour belief into her, like you will. We're all on your team. So the idea then that we build these internal muscles, and that the journey to become a professional network marketer will be an incredible journey, but it's one of your choosing, and it's one that you choose the speed, right? And for some of you, I've had people come to the University in Action that were a 4 or 5 out of 10 in network marketing that got to a 10 in 2.5 days. So say this with me. Everyone just repeat this. I know we can't hear you, but I want you to say this with me. I choose my own speed. Just say that out loud. Say, I choose my own speed. Right? So you get to choose. You get to choose whether you want to move your belief needle quickly. In the next 7 days, you could radically change the way you believe about network marketing, about these products, about the company, right? So Journey, I'm just going to stop because I've been talking for a while there and just go back to any questions you have.
Oh, I love it. And it's so powerful. It really resonates with me because that's exactly what happened. At your UIA, your University in Action event, I thought that my belief needle was a 10 out of a 10 in belief in network marketing because I believe in all things isogenics. But what I really realized at your event was that I'd been lying to myself. Right. And I think a big part that you teach is also how to realize when we're lying to ourselves, because sometimes it might feel like, yes, I'm a 10, sure. But what I realized is when the conversation of network marketing came up, I wanted to run for the hills. I would try to change the subject. And Ian was a real help in that event as well, helping me realize that when I was honest with myself, I was probably a 2 or a 3 in my belief in network marketing. So I want to do a plug for your podcast as well. You guys, everyone, if you want to learn more about network marketing and really pour belief in yourself in that respect, the amplifiednetworkmarketing.com website that David Wood runs is was a huge help for me raising my belief. And like, you did say, David, podcasts, and I think yours is one of the best.
Well, thank you. I'll send you the $20.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you've got to understand though that, and I want everyone to know, especially you new people, it's very, very normal. This is a normal process. Kathy Kugel was a terrible network marketer before she was a good one. I was a terrible network marketer before I was a good one. Andrea was a terrible network marketer before she was a good one. We were all terrible, and we all had to learn this. And it's like, you know, we're in the highest paid profession in the world. I mean, all of you, and some raise up your hand, anyone on this call, if you have friends in Isogenics that make more in a month than they used to make in a year. Raise up if you know anyone in that category. Look around. Look at all those hands go up, right? I mean, and that's a crazy thing to think about if you're brand new. But if you say the same with me, my wealth can only grow to the extent I grow myself. Isogenics is really a personal development program that has a compensation plan attached. And I watch anyone. I could choose any leader around the company. Anyone who's been around this company, they are better partners. They're better friends. They're wealthier. They're happier, they're kinder, they have these extraordinary lives in the making, but all of them started in the same place. All of them struggled with the same things. All of them wanted to quit many, 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 many times, had wall-kicking moments. All of them doubted themselves. But the one thing they all had in common is they continued. They stayed in the energy, and they started to grow their wealth as they grew themselves. And again, it really does start with this belief system, but it doesn't have to happen overnight. And what most people do is they look at, and this is the really, really big distinction, they'll say on their first year anniversary, a lot of people quit. And they'll quit because they say, well, I've been in it a year and I'm only making this much money. Well, the fact is you're making residual income. Even if it's $54, that's still residual. That means you did the work. Like, for example, I've been on the products 10 years. The person that introduced me 10 years ago is still getting paid every time I order. Every time for 10 years. Every time. And my order is really big because I buy for my kids. I buy for my ex-wife. You know, I get hundreds and hundreds of BV every month. And this guy still gets paid 10 years later for a conversation he had with me 10 years ago. That is crazy good, right? So the idea then that, you know, the first year anniversary, people will say, I've been in Isogenics for the 12 months. That is not how we count. Don't count the length of time. Count the amount of conversations. What we should say to each other, if I said to you, hey, how long have you been in Isogenics? You should say, 22 conversations, right? Because it doesn't matter. If those conversations took a whole year, you're going to look at the results in your business and you're going to say, wow, I'm not making a lot of money. But if I look at how many conversations I've had, of course I'm not. Instead of saying, well, I've been in this long, because you're still building yourself. And some of you simply aren't ready yet to build a business, and that's okay. It's like you're in the school phase, right? You're in the school phase. Like, you know, most of you have professions of some kind. A lot of you went to university for 3 to 4 years, and it was normal for you to go to university and pay for it to learn a trade so you could make so much money an hour. Well, this is different, but it is still a university. We still have to go through those years of learning. Andrea had to learn how to be a great network marketer, right, Andrea? Yeah, you're muted, sorry. Okay, so these are really important things, because what I most need you to be is kind to yourself, because most of you are simply too hard on yourself. You're like starting something new that has unlimited income potential, and you're dabbling at it, you're not getting the results you want, and beating the crap out of yourself, and some of you are thinking about quitting, right? Instead of thinking about learning and growing and expanding and saying, I can do this. And I can guarantee there's not one person that I'm looking at right now that can't do this. Someone like you has already succeeded in Isogenics. I can show someone as your personality style, you know, the way you look, your ethnicity, your background, and you can see that everyone can succeed if they understand that this is truly is a real profession, and you truly have to learn it. And the beauty is there's not a lot to learn, but we have to be bad before we're good. We have to be a disaster before we can become a master. And it's in the disaster stage that most of us give up on ourselves in our dreams and goals. And that's what I want you to be really clear on.
Oh, that is so powerful, because everyone has their days. In fact, someone sent me a chat that said, my belief needle wavers from day to day, sometimes in myself doing network marketing. That obviously shows up in my business. And on those days, I'm a 10, but maybe I'm not really a 10. So people are having these wake-up calls right now. So thank you for that. And so my question...
Let me just talk about that, because this is an important one. Belief in self is a moving target. You're going to have days or moments where you feel crappy. So even the great leaders in our company, it happens like in the beginning when they started out, a lot of them had bad weeks, or some could have bad months. And then as they start growing themselves, it became, you know, a bad couple of days. And then it became a bad day. And then it became a bad afternoon. And it gets shrinking and shrinking because as they became more masters of their own mindset, there they have a bad moment. So they'll have a, but belief in self is a moving target, right? Andrea, you know that. Journey, you know that. There's still days where you wake up and you don't feel like a 10. And it's okay not to be a 10 in self. That's why the journey is about your personal development. And I want to remind you, this isn't about you making money only. Because when you have juicier relationships, when you have deeper intimacy with the people you love, your lover, when you become a certain type of person, and we all can learn this, right? We will get paid in accordance with that. But the byproduct of having so many super relationships and being able to travel around the world and do what we want, to have an extraordinary life, that's the byproduct. But we all got to get there the same way. In other words, we got to go through that tough part in the beginning to get there. There's no easy route. There is no easy route, right? But it's fun. The route's fun, right, Jenny?
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun. And some days it's not, like you mentioned. And I think one thing that's important to remember is that we all have the same tools. Isogenics gives us the same tools. We all have the same compensation plan, which is brilliant, by the way. And it's what we do with it. And I love that you say it's about how many conversations we have, because I think sometimes people get stuck in comparing themselves with others.
The majority of people, you know, what's the sadness though, Journey, is a lot of people compare their start, in other words, to someone else's middle. You know, the fact that you've been around 14 years, it's easy to look at you and say, well, she talks to people so easily, right? Well, yeah, guess what? You've been around a long time. Now, seriously, you've only been building the business for 3 years, but still you've been around the energy for a long, long time. So I do think comparison is the thief of joy, and it's worth writing that down. Comparison is the thief of joy. Is that, you know, when we find ourselves comparing, and there are so many people who again chose a different speed. You know, so if you look at a Lynn Hagedorn who became a millionaire in 14 months, you have to ask the question, right? You have to say, well, how does she do that? Well, guess what? Lynn Hagedorn has been investing in personal development for 30 years. Lynn Hagedorn was already a professional network marketer when she entered this arena. She already had built these skill sets. So for her to become a millionaire in 14 months and she was driven. She made thousands of calls. So she went to work right away. She didn't have to work on her belief system. She had to work on her belief in isogenics. She had to work on her belief in our product systems, but she believed in herself, and she believed in herself as a network marketer, right? So the idea then, we don't compare. What the question is, when you see someone that's getting a different result than you, instead of comparing yourself and feeling like crap, ask the question, can you give me one thing, one tip that you think has contributed to your success? Ask them. They'll tell you, because they're on your team. Everyone you compare yourself to is on your team. We're all here to help you grow, and that's a very, very unique philosophy in any business. Go up and ask them a question of how you can take one thing. What's one thing I could be doing right now to get the success you have? And they're going to give you a tip. But don't compare yourself to them, right? But you will notice that people who are paid more than you have more conversations than you. And it's really important just to know that. And so even knowing that, you know, we look at our results. And when we look at our results, the universe is giving us immediate feedback. So if we look into our bank account and there's no money, that's a result. If we look in the mirror and we're overweight, that's a result, right? If we look in our relationship, our primary relationship, and you're arguing and fighting with your husband or your wife, that's a result. So the results are immediate feedback. All right. And so when we see the results, it's just the universe or God or whatever you use your term giving us feedback. And then what we have to do, if we want different results, we have to do different things. So we're going to have to change what we're doing in order to get the results we want. Very, very simple math, right? And a lot of us don't do that. We look at the results, we think we're a failure, so we don't try something new. And the most important thing is to actually change what we're doing to get a different result.
And this information can really be used in all areas of our lives. Like you said, with our relationships and with other careers that people are doing. It's really applicable to all areas of life, which is so important to remember. One thing I wanted to ask is about getting out of our own way, because going back to, it's one of my favorite conversations, because again, going back to the fact that we're all given the same opportunity here. And you mentioned so beautifully about comparison, and Veronica Farber and Steve are on, and she loved that quote, comparison is the thief of joy. And so oftentimes it's our own selves getting in the way, right? So how do you recommend we kick that in the butt?
Well, I think that, again, we do get in our own way, but it's environment plays such a huge role in how we get in our way. They say we become the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Okay, and so if we've grown up in an environment and we're surrounded by people that, and there's nothing wrong with these people, by the way, and we're not comparing their life to ours, but if you're around people that have a 9-to-5 employee mindset and are kind of happy with their lot in life, it's different from being around people who want to contribute and live a life of purpose, who want to have an extraordinary life, who see greatness in you, even though they just meet you. They know you can do it, who have grown their mindset. In other words, everything's going to come down to where you spend your hours each day. And there's that great saying, there's no BV in TV, right? I mean, and some people will get up, they'll drink a coffee, they'll watch CNN, continually negative news, they'll read a newspaper and wonder why they feel like crap. Right? So a lot of getting in our own way is because of the environment that we're in, right? Because, and then as we start investing again, and the most critical thing is to invest in yourself. And even if you have no money, so many things are for free. Podcasts are for free, for example, but we start to reprogram our mind so that instead of beating ourselves up, which most people do, and you can think about this, almost 80% of the thoughts that we think are the same as yesterday. So in other words, we repetitively are thinking the same thoughts, and the majority of our thoughts are negative. So this is just the sign. There was a study just done. And so imagine most of our thoughts are ones we have every single day, and the majority of them are negative, which means that we have to reprogram our brain, and we have to start feeding ourselves. I just gave one of our leaders a challenge, and I kept hearing her language. And her language, there were so many negative words in her. I can't, I should, and this kind of, and all I asked her to do was to start to write down anytime she heard herself say something that was negative. All I asked her to do was keep a little journal and start writing down the language that she's consistently using. Now, I only did this with her 11 days ago. All she had to do was hear any negative, anything that had a low energy, any words that sort of took away power, and she just had to catch them. And then all she had to do was find a word to replace it with that was more positive. That's her only job. And I can't believe, when I talked to her today, I did a coaching call with her today, I can't believe how different she sounds. It's like her whole world is shifted on its axis, because now she became aware that her language to herself was so low energy, and it was constantly eroding her confidence. She was constantly eroding her own confidence. And all she did, she started working on the language that she was using. Small changes, like she's eradicated the word can't. I'm not going to say I can't do something. I can choose not to do something, but saying I can do something is a very different thing from saying, hey, I choose not to do this right now. I choose not to do it is a powerful statement. I can is a weak statement. And all she did was just work on language. And that language shift alone has given her a confidence. I can hear it in her voice. And some of the actions she took last week were radically different from the action she's been taking, because she's been talking herself out of the game. So I think being aware of her own language journey is one of those powerful and easy things. All it is awareness. Oh my gosh, how many times do I beat the crap out of myself? How many times do I look in the mirror and find fault with my face, with my bum, with my this, with my that? That is one of those things. If we can catch that and we replace it, and what we do is we're building a muscle. We're building a muscle of positivity. And it's not like happy, rah, rah, rah. I'm talking about being authentic. But it's not authentic to beat the crap out of ourselves every day. That is not authentic. That is been taught to us by our environment, by conditioning, and we can recondition ourselves to have a greater environment and to attract the things we want. Am I getting excited?
I love it. So many, the chat's blowing up. People are loving this. And it really is a beautiful thing as we become more loving to ourselves. You said, we're sometimes, would you say, eroding our own confidence. And so the more that we're nicer to ourselves and we reprogram our frame of mind and we become more authentic, then people will start wanting to hang around us more, right? Sometimes.
Listen to this. This is an important one to write down. You're going to attract who you are. So if you have a bunch of deadbeats in your team right now, guess what? Little truth here.
I love my team. You guys are awesome.
You know, I'm just saying, but you're going to attract who you are. So you're going to attract people just like you. So ask yourself the question, right? And this is, again, you don't have to change this today. We're going to love you regardless. I mean, we're going to love you whether you take 20 years to do this. I'm still going to be here on your side. I'm still going to be there every step of the way. Some of you have further to go. Some of you have spent a lifetime beating the crap out of yourself. Some of you are just starting out doing it. But remember the stat that just came out. 7 out of 10 girls between the age of 11 and 16, all right? 7 out of 10. This was a study done in England, right? Have low self-esteem, are constantly thinking poor thoughts about themselves, don't like their bodies. Where does an 11-year-old learn to hate themselves? Where? So we're all inflicted with this negative virus, and I think isogenics, beyond our compensation plan, beyond these products, is our culture where people are accepted. And some of you don't feel worthy of that yet, and it's okay. It's okay to doubt. We all did. But the idea that we have a culture that's going to allow you to grow and expand, I guarantee, if you don't quit, within 3 to 5 to 7 years, the person you're going to look back on and see is going to be radically different from who you are. Because there's nothing but positivity around you. And yes, you're going to have days where you want to quit. And yes, you're going to still compare. And yes, you're still going to say some negative things to yourself. But it's going to become less and less and less as long as you make you the priority and you understand this is not a sprint. If you want to sprint, sprint. And we're going to love you. If you want to stand still for a while and work on yourself, we're still going to love you. We're still going to be on your team, right? But again, it's just a journey, and it's the most exciting, most beautiful, and most worthwhile journey that I have ever seen. And that's why I am a proud professional network marketer, because I see the results in people's lives.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And yeah, my favorite, I wrote that down. You attract who you are.
Right, let me just show you the view while I'm looking at it. See why I'm so inspired. Look at that view.
Oh, I love that lake. Gorgeous.
Okay, go on, carry on.
Good place. Yeah, you attract who you are. And what I find is the more I grow, the more I get out of my own way, then the more people want to know what I'm doing. They're attracted to that positivity, right? And like you've said in the past, I forgot how you said it, but when things are going well and you're positive and you're in the flow, people start dropping into your team, right? Suddenly people are asking you to be part of your business. And I love that. And sometimes people say, oh, I can't find anyone to talk to. And I've seen certain people grow, like Tamala, who I think you've met before. She's incredibly growing incredibly. And the more that people open up and grow, the more that it's just easy to meet more people, right?
Yeah, you know, and I think that, again, but understanding that even that, it's easy to say that just to meet people, but the beauty of you know, an internal passion is that conversations will become more natural, again, with practice, but with just living, with just changing things up. For a lot of you, look, the human mind, if we understand how the mind works, and I study the mind a lot, the brain's job is not to make us happy or rich. If the brain's job was to make us happy or rich, this is what it would sound like in the mornings when you wake up. It'd be like, psst, oh, let me choose one of you. I'll choose Pamela. Pamela, wave your hand. I can see you right there. Go on, Pamela. You there? Come on. Sheedy? There you go. There you go. There you go. I'll pick on you. Pretend. All right. So pretend your little brain is waking you up. It's like, hey, Pamela. Morning. Come on. How you looking amazing. Get up. Wow, you are so sexy. Imagine your brain talk to you like that every single moment of every single day. That, you think, as an evolved human species, that's what we should hear from ourselves, is nothing but positivity. But that's not what we do. The brain's job is, it's a reptilian part of the brain's job is to keep us in our comfort zone. Its job is to keep us alive. It doesn't give a crap if we're happy. It doesn't give a crap if we're rich, right? And it does that through this constant chatter, right? And there's a number of parts of that. There's a number of players in the brain. There's the psychocybernetic mechanism. There's the reticular activating system. Each one of them have a role. Right? And when we understand the roles of the brain, we understand that the reason we beat the crap out of ourselves, and it gets worse and worse as we get older and older, most of us, right? Is because the brain does a very, very good job at keeping us playing small, right? That's its job. It doesn't want us to be rich or happy. And so there's a part of the brain called the psychocybernetic mechanism. And what that is, every single time we leave our comfort zone, every single time, this mechanism secretes chemicals into our body. And those chemicals are interpreted as fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty. Fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty. Every time we leave our comfort zone. So imagine you're starting out in a new business, network marketing. You've been a plumber for 25, 30 years. And suddenly someone says, oh, I just go out and talk to people. Yeah, that's great, except your heart's beating in your chest and you're feeling like crap and you're scared. And so you're absolutely going to cross the threshold of your comfort zone, in which moment the body's flooded with chemicals and you suddenly feel fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty. Here's the thing. That's normal. And everything we do, every time we try something new, we get those little butterflies or we get a little nervousness. Some of you, if I ask you to speak in front of 50 people in a room, you're already starting to get nervous thinking about it, right? So what it is successful people still have that. I still feel the apprehension, fear, doubt, and uncertainty every single time I'm outside my comfort zone, right? But what happens is I know that it's a part of the journey. So for you, when you're starting out and you feel those feelings of apprehension, fear, and doubt, and uncertainty, the only way to get rid of them is to go through them, is to keep doing this until you grow your comfort zone so that talking to people feels easier. And that's practice. And you don't have to talk about isogenics. You can just stand and meet someone and say, hey, how you doing? Where you from? Do you have kids? Boom. You can practice the conversation. It doesn't have to lead to network marketing, but suddenly we're building these muscles. And as our comfort zone grows, say this with me, or you write it down, my comfort zone equals my money zone, or my money zone equals my comfort zone. So if you put a $Z equals comfort zone Z, it means that if you don't have a lot of money right now, it's because your comfort zone is quite small. And your money is going to be a direct proportion to your comfort zone. And so what the beauty of network marketing is, it elegantly allows you to expand your comfort zone in all areas of your life. And with that, the money will come, right? But so again, we look at the results. We don't have a lot of money. You get excited about it. Just get excited that you're in a place where given time, that, and for some of you, it's going to be quick. It's given time that you're going to get the results, the money will come. But the extraordinary life that you'll lead, you're going to be like me, lit up all the time. I mean, I'm not a fake happy. I'm just freaking happy. Why? Because I lead an extraordinary life. Why? Because I became a professional network marketer and I had to learn this crap. And I was a terrible one before I was a good one.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and I think part of becoming a professional network marketer is knowing that we're going to get a lot more no's than we get yeses, right? And I think it's interesting. Something I've had to learn is that it's okay not to take it personally when people say no. If I recommend a great restaurant and someone decides not to go, I'm not going to let it ruin my day. But as we share the gift of isogenics and the solution it offers, sometimes we get, and for me, I still go through this where I'll feel like it's a personal, I take it personally. And so that's something I'm working out of, is being unattached to the outcome. We've heard in isogenics that we share the opportunity, they decide, and we support them. So what would you say to people who are still struggling with the no's and just realizing that that's part of being a professional network marketer? Do you agree?
Well, it's a part of life. I mean, I think that, one of the things I try to teach my children when they were young was how to fall in love with the word no, right? Because it's whatever endeavor we're in, no's will be, whether it's asking a girl to dance when we're young, no's are going to be a part of our life. I think the challenge for a lot of new network marketers is their expectations are so out of whack. So they think if they just talk to their mother and their brother in Australia and they're two people down the street, they're somehow going to be rich, right? That is just not the case. And now, could it be the case? Yeah, very, very slight chance of that. So what happens though is that if we look at the success of anyone in our top 100 or anyone in our top 250, what we're going to find out is that if I do the math with them, and I've done this with so many people, so you're going to find out that on average, anyone who's making a multiple 6 or a 7-figure income has had 2 or 3 or 4,000 conversations. Now, this is general, and I've done this all over the world, so I can give you a general sort of idea. They've been in the company anywhere from 3 years to 5 years, let's say, or longer. They've had thousands of conversations, thousands, 3 or 4 sometimes, but 2 or 3 for sure. From that, they personally enrolled about 100 to 150 people. So even though they've had thousands of conversations, which means they've had thousands of no's, thousands, right? This is just the reality. From that, when we see that they personally enroll about 150 people, from those 150 people, when you do the math, on average, between 2 and 4 of them become primary builders. So they speak to thousands, about 150 come in. From that, about 3 or 4 go to work. Now, you still have all the customers, but the ones that actually really want to build this as a business, primary, I'm talking about they're personally enrolled. Now, in their teams, they have lots of other builders because other people will bring them in and you'll work with them. But that's the math, which means that a professional network marketer has had anyone that you've seen on stage that's successful, anyone that you admire, anyone that's making a 6 or 7 figure income has already received thousands and thousands of no's. And the way to think about a no, or there's lots of ways. People say, Jimmy Smith would say, the way I think about a no is they just don't know. They just don't know. What I always say is a no is about timing. Because raise up your hand right now, and Erica, I'm watching you, but I'm seeing your name. Hi, Erica. All right, but raise up your hand if you are so glad that the person introduced you to these products and this company. Raise up your hand if you're really grateful. Look around. Okay, so that's what the people are going to be like that you introduce. They're going to raise up your hand if you've ever had a call yet, or someone's told you in person that you've changed their life by introducing them. Raise up your hand if you had that. Imagine being told that once in your lifetime that you've changed someone's life. I mean, if we put this in perspective, I mean, most of us yearn to live a life of purpose. And now we're changing lives by what? Introducing someone. So we have to build a new relationship. And I do that very well at the University in Action, a new relationship with the word no. What I think no means, my choice of meaning is that it's just not the right time. Because given the right time, if someone's in pain physically or financially, they're probably, and if you use the tools, if you use the right video and you use a 3-way call where you don't have to be the one doing all the talking, in the beginning you don't want to be doing the talking. You want the tools to do the talking, you want your uplines to do the talking, but you don't have to build this alone. But what it is all about timing for everyone. And so if we can start to understand that, and if I give you one other example, think of someone you love, someone you absolutely love. And imagine I had a gun to their head and I said, look, if you don't become a crystal executive in the next, 6 days, you'll never see him again. The probability is you're going to have a whole new relationship with no. You're going to talk to everybody, unless you don't like the kid, right? You're going to talk to everybody, right? And you're going to make this thing happen. Well, you don't have to have a gun to someone's head to do that, but we've got to start to understand what no really means. And we've got to start falling in love. And that's a strange word, but to fall in love with the no is to realize that well, let me ask you another question. Raise up your hand if someone said yes to you. You kind of dragged them in. They kind of said yes to you. They were a bit of a pain in the neck, and you kind of wish they hadn't joined. Put your hand if you have that experience. Look around, right? So the beauty is when we learn how to do this elegantly, we're going to be attracting people for the right reasons, for the product, for their health, for the business, for both, right? And that when we realize that no is simply it's a critical part of the puzzle, the success puzzle. Whatever you do in life, whatever you're going to do, no's will be there constantly. And so I choose to have a relationship with the word no where it excites me. And this again is reconditioning. So when you hear the word no next time, you notice the feeling in your body. If you start to slump your shoulders, if you start to think bad thoughts, you've got to catch it, throw the music on, do a little dance. I know this may sound weird, but what's weirder? Being broke and unhappy, or being happy and rich? I don't know. I think being happy and rich is much, much more exciting than being broke. And here's the other thing. One of my sayings that I've written, stop taking advice from broke, unhappy people. Stop taking advice from broke, unhappy people. Most no's come from people that are broke and unhappy. And notice where the no's come from. And by the way, family members, please don't think everyone in your family is going to join your business. What other profession? Imagine I'm a plumber. And imagine I come over to your house and I say, hey, let me choose on someone else here. So, hey, Lisa. So Lisa right there in the purple, yeah. So Lisa, imagine I come to Lisa's house. I'm a plumber. And I'm like, hey, Lisa, you got nice pipes. Do you mind if I go into your secret? I'll look at your pipes. I imagine I start flushing her toilet, and about every 12 minutes, I start to talk to her about maybe she needs new pipes. Lisa, would it be all right if I come in? But only network marketers do that. Only network marketers go out and think that the whole world has to revolve around this freaking business. No, it doesn't. It's about relationships. And no other profession is always rubbing it in your face. And just because you're a network marketer does not mean your brother, your sister, your mother, or anyone else in your family, or any of your friends will follow you into it, right? Because if you were a plumber, you wouldn't expect them all to become plumbers, right? So allow them to be in love with you as a professional network marketer without thinking they have to join you, and especially if you have negative energy around it. I can't believe my mother said no to me because I'm in a business. She should follow me. Why? Give me one reason. Well, because she's fat. And I think she needs, well, thank you. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? So you just got to let go of that. And you're going to attract the people that want to work with you. And it will be so exciting when you do. And the most exciting thing, the most exciting day, Journey, tell me if this is wrong. The first time you get the call from someone in your team that says, hey, I want to build this with you. And they're excited. And they start making calls with you, and suddenly you're doing three-way calls, and you have this first person that's like wants to do it with you. And that's like sometimes can take a while to get going, but when you get that, it's like, holy crap, this works, right? And then you can do it again.
Oh, and that's the best, yeah, because then you have that partnership, and it's so much fun to do together. And wow, everyone's loving that plumber analogy. I was laughing hysterically. That's amazing.
Sorry about Lisa's pipes.
Oh, it was great. And I mean, as fun as it is fun to work with a team and to be able to help people. And there are also days that, you know, I've heard where it doesn't feel as fun, right? That people call it mastering the mundane. And so what do you recommend for people during those times where it's the in between the fun moments, or it is the challenging moments? You said some really great things in terms of how to get out of your own way, but what about just that idea of mastering the mundane? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, great sex. No, I'm just kidding. You know, it's like, look, if we look at anything, how many of you like sports? Put your hand up if you like sports, right? I mean, if you just watch the Olympics and you watch any one sport, you tell me that anyone who won a medal has done the same small move over and over and over, millions and millions and millions and millions, and that's what makes them good, right? Network marketers, we only have a few skill sets that we really need to master, right? And so we are going to do the same things over and over. That's called duplication. We want to have something instead of things, so we have to change the relationship with calling it mundane, right? But here's the thing that a lot of you don't do: celebrate enough. So if you have a conversation and you're kind of was a bit scared, you had a conversation, just to recognize and pat yourself on the back and celebrate. But the first time you hit a goal, so many people are charging so fast and running to the future that you forget to celebrate. And the other thing I think is really important with your teams, and you can do it through Zoom if they're all over the world, but have parties at your house or dinner parties or have gatherings on Zoom where no one's allowed to mention isogenics, so that you can actually get back into relationships with people. I think it's really important to have meetings and dinner parties with people in your team where you're just together as friends and not always thinking about business, because normally most of you come home from a job and you switch off. Network marketers sometimes forget to do that because it's like they're network marketers from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. So I do think it's important to have switch off time. It's important to have celebration time and to really, really celebrate. But it's also important to notice. It's, for example, if you're feeling heavy, you're feeling mundane, if you're feeling the drudge, just stop. Go for a walk. Go for a swim. Do something. Get your head out of the game. Take a day off. Switch the phone off for a whole day. Leave a message and say, hey, guess what? I'm not going to be available, for the next 48 hours. And go do something fun and come back with a new feeling, because I do think network marketers often have their phone on 24/7 and they just don't know when not to be a network marketer. And honestly, you're a little bit annoying. Right? So switch off, go to a family dinner and, don't talk about it. Just, really, really reconnect with people in a more beautiful way. So I think just have a little bit more fun, but understand though that this is so simple, this business. It's not easy, it's simple. And it's simple because you will do the same things over and over and over again. There's that famous story by Vince Lombardi. He just won the Super Bowl. And with the same team that he was going to the next season with, in their opening training day, He walked up to the same team that had won the Super Bowl the year before and said, gentlemen, this is a football. And he went back to teaching the fundamentals that they learned when they were little tiny kids. That's what made them great. The repetition of those skill sets, right?
And yeah, and two things, skill sets are huge. Two things that help me get out of the mundane. One is dancing, having wild dance parties by myself, turning up the music. And the other is really plugging into events. I find that my business is growing the fastest when I am constantly going from event to event. And I learn something new every time. I get inspired in new ways. David, your trainings have been just incredible for me. Mind-blowing, life-changing. So if you can talk about your events, I know the University in Action is such a powerful one. You have one coming up with Train the Trainer. Maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, and again, even if if your mind starts to switch off when we start talking like this, stay in the game for this one, because your people will grow at events. And one of the things we have to become great at as professional network marketers is not just getting to an event. It's actually getting to an event with people. And so it's not a question of you arriving, but a lot of people, if they don't invest in an event, it's because they don't understand the value of it. But Tracy O'Malley, I know that some of you have watched her video with me. Tracy O'Malley had 155 of her team at the last University in Action. 155. The one before that, she had 73. The one before that, she had 70. She is going to have, I don't know, she'll have 200 people at the next one we're at in Kansas. But her whole mindset is, how do I pour people into the unit? Let Dave train them. Let them spend 2.5 days with me. I'll get their belief house in order. I'll be able to, teach them the fundamental skills. I'll be able to give them a 10-year mindset. And the University in Action is all about beliefs, expectations, and skill sets. That's it. And there's a lot of personal development in there, but they're going to start realizing, moving the needle from I can't to I can. So you want to know where they are on a calendar, wherever they are in the world, and see if you can be there and have your team members there with me. Another event I've got coming up is the Train the Trainer in Vancouver. And I'll tell you quick, I won't talk too much about it, but why Train the Trainer? Because every network marketer is an educator primarily. And this program is about becoming a master educator. So a master presenter, a master trainer, and a master facilitator, right? And so it's a 3.5-day program. And what happened was I did a big event in Australia, and I heard about this guy, Colin James, and I gave him an hour and a half because I didn't know much about him. He blew my mind so much that when I did the event in Vegas, I gave him 5 hours. He's one of the great trainers. And so there's a number of reasons why. It's in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's coming up September 25th to the 27th. Think of it as an investment in you, investment in your team. Get there with team members if you can, right? But the beauty of this type of program is I use the stage as a metaphor. Not only as a network marketer will you be called to the front of the room, whether it's in front of a small, a home party or a university, but over time you're going to be called to the big stage. You saw at Celebration 16,000 or 15,000 people. All right. But what I love about the stage is about 75% of people have a fear of public speaking. So I use the stage as a breakthrough to be able to expand your comfort zone. And that's directly translates into how you communicate off the stage, how you communicate one-on-one. So really building that internal light that will be attractive. So again, that's coming up. We have a special VIP day on the 28th, which is a really small group with Colin and myself. The price, just so you know, we've done it. It's $697. But if you're American, it's US. If you're Canadian, it's Canadian. If you're Australian, it's Australian. So whatever country you live in, we're going to charge you the same cost in your dollars. So there isn't that crazy exchange rate thing that goes on. But I'm only doing one Train the Trainer this year, and I really do believe this is going to be so powerful. And it's, again, one of those things, what Journey talked about. I've worked with so many leaders in expanding their comfort zones and truly giving them skill sets that will ignite their business. So whether it's the University in Action, whether it's the Train the Trainer in September, if you want to find out more about it, you can email my assistant, Denise. Her email is denise@amplifiedliving.com. And maybe, Journey, you can put that in the chat, denise@amplifiedliving.com. And we can do a payment thing. We'll help you, right? Just get there. But think of it this way. There's a thing called a default mode. And when we're a little broke and we're not as happy as we want to be, what happens is when something comes along like this, normally the first thing that goes through people's heads is, I can't afford it, I don't have the time. That's called a default mode. And even if you think you can't afford it and you don't have the time, all I want you to do is use this as a lesson for yourself and practice saying, how do I afford it? How do I make the time? How do I afford it? How do I make the time? Because obviously you have a compensation plan that can help you afford it, but it's just to notice how often the brain will keep us playing small. And the first thing we think is often, oh yeah, I can't do it. Without even saying, how do I do it? How do I make the time to go and work with David, right? So anyway, those are the two events I got coming up. And I would really, really urge all of you is to realize that, again, you want as many people with you at an event, and that's going to explode your business. And that's what Tracy does. I mean, she's a 15-star platinum now. And she pours people into my events to let me do the work for them. And I'd love to do it for you. And this isn't a moneymaker for me. So don't mix this one up. We really offer a lot of personal development. I mean, the University in Action is so inexpensive. What was it? $199, I think, $199 for 3.5 days. There you go, Journey. I hope that helped.
Yeah, I actually had a private question come in wondering if it's good for beginners.
Well, yeah, because, the thing is, again, any personal development is good for beginners, because if somebody learns a new skill set, what happened with me when I first got into network marketing, there was a 2.5-day program. I'd never done any personal development. And I had to present something in front of the room, in front of my group. And it scared the crap out of me, but it changed my life. It changed the way I thought. I mean, because what I did is I suddenly started to build a new muscle inside of me, and I started to see the world through a new lens. So absolutely. And the University in Action is built for beginners, but leaders come all the time. The Train the Trainer program, again, if you can get there, if you can find that investment valuable, it's valuable for everyone. And you're definitely going to come away with some new skill sets. And the idea about becoming a master educator is really, well, Journey. I mean, you and your mom have spent a lot of time in that arena with me, right?
Yes, absolutely. And looks like we have some background sound going on. But yeah, the events really help to train from any place that people are at. And like I said, I get inspired in new ways. I learn something new every time I go. And it's really helped me to be my authentic self, especially the training programs, to learn to be my authentic self, whether I'm on stage or off stage. And that's something that I'm really proud of now. So you guys, if you get a chance to learn from David Wood, it is when we are so grateful to have you on tonight, to learn from you today. Thank you so much for taking this amazing chunk of time for all of us, David.
Can I ask one question? Just, I know it's the top of the hour. I want to honor your time, but were there any questions in the chat that needed to be addressed? We asked people to put them in there. I didn't really hear any, so I don't want to not. And if you have to leave the call, I understand. But if there's someone that had a burning question, I don't mind giving a few extra minutes here, Journey, if you need to.
Thank you so much. And now's your chance if you guys want to put any in. I did already ask some of them. Steve Farber and Veronica were talking about the OSM moment when you're talking about getting uncomfortable. So that was funny. Everyone was loving your plumber comment. More so just beautiful comments and pouring love into you, appreciating what you've said. And just seeing how UIA has changed their business. A lot of people said that. Oh, someone wants to do a group selfie. Scott wants to do the group selfies. So if everyone could just put on their
best smile. Ready? Hold on, wait. Let's put the screen up big.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how pretty is everyone? Ready? Here we go. I'm gonna take one too. Ready? Oh, actually, I can't see my face. There you go. We'll post it for you.
Awesome.
Right. Is that it? Listen, everyone, thank you. Wave your hand if you've got one nugget that you can use. Wave your hand. I don't see any hands being waved over here with Pamela. Oh, Pamela, there you go. All right. Thanks, Journey. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, you guys, thank you to everyone who was on today. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
David.
Ciao. Thank you.
Thank you.